Hello, I'm Professor Peter Kevern, and I want to talk to you today about the supervisor relationship that you have. Now, your relationship with your supervisors is going to be the most important element of your relationship to the university while you're here. If you are on an MPhil or a PhD program, of course, your relationship with your supervisors starts now. If you're joining us as a professional doctorate student, then it will probably only be in place as you move to the thesis stage of your research. But one way or the other, these are the people who are going to be taking you through your research and hopefully leading you to a good outcome in good time at the end of the process. So it's worth cultivating that relationship carefully. You're going to have a relationship with your supervisors if you are a full-time PhD, which is going to last 3 or 4 years. If you're a part-time PhD, it's longer. It could be 6 years, it could even be 8 years. So this is going to be a substantial slice of your life. And if you don't get on with your supervisors very well, or if you don't understand each other very well, then you need to take steps to sort that out. The first thing you should do when you arrive at the university is make contact with your supervision team. There will be at least 2 of them. One of them will be named the principal supervisor, and it's their job to see that your progress in your research program goes according to plan. And then there will be a second supervisor who may have less to do with you because they may be there as a backup, or they may actually have more to do with you because they may be there because they're the subject expert. There might be other people on your supervision team. There might be additional internal supervisors who are bringing particular expertise, or there might be external supervisors from another university or from industry who have a particular slant, a particular insight to bring to the process, and they'll all be involved in different ways. But the people that you need to focus on are your principal supervisor and, to a lesser extent, your second supervisor. So let's have a look at what sort of relationship you need to have with them. And the first thing to say is that you should be seeing them regularly. The guidance that we give is that you should be seeing them about once a month for about an hour. But of course that varies a great deal. So if you're in a lab-based subject, you might be actually working alongside your supervisor, and you might be having a formal supervision session every week. If you are at the beginning or near the end of your process, your progress towards a doctorate, then you might expect to be seeing your supervisors more often than if you're in the middle and getting along quite nicely. In addition, people find different patterns of supervision that work for them. So the sort of classical way of running a supervision session is for about an hour, face to face. But actually, during the pandemic, a lot of us found that it was really easy and useful to have most of our supervision sessions on Teams, when it meant that the PGR concerned, the researcher concerned, didn't need to make it to the university, or if the academic staff involved were on different sites, they could still all join in. I certainly found that often it made better sense to have supervision sessions little and often. So instead of having one long supervision session about once a month, to have a couple every 2 weeks, maybe slightly shorter, maybe half an hour every fortnight, or maybe even a quick sort of touching base for 10 minutes, 15 minutes after a week or so to see how something was going on. So there are all sorts of different patterns and ways of undertaking supervision, and that's something that you can discuss with your supervision team on a regular basis to work out what works best for all of you. Another thing that it's worth spending a bit of time thinking about is what you expect from your supervisors and what sort of support works best for you. So, for example, some people like a very formal and task-orientated relationship with their supervisors. They don't want to be talking about their feelings, and they don't want to be talking about their family life. They just want to be talking about the project in hand and how to solve particular problems along the way. Certain disciplines lend themselves to that. For example, if you're in something like engineering or computing, your supervision sessions might basically just look like a list of problems that you want some advice in how to solve them. For other people, they want a little bit more of a supportive relationship than that. They want somebody who will be their critical friend, who maybe will comment not just upon particular issues, but on the whole shape of their research, about how their thinking is evolving and shifting. They might want somebody who will give them advice on what to do about things like writer's block or lack of confidence, or who will sort of stand at their side, as it were, through some of the key milestones along the way. And again, some disciplines lend themselves to that. If you're in the humanities, for example, in philosophy, then it doesn't boil down to small technical problems, but more about how your thinking is growing and evolving as a whole. And finally, some people find along the way that their supervisor becomes for them a lifelong friend and ally, somebody that they go on holiday with even, or invite round for meals. And for some people that works really well. They want that sort of person in their lives, and you might be that sort of person. There are as many different ways of constructing the supervision relationship as there are supervisors and researchers out there. So these are the sorts of conversations that you could have with your supervision team, and you'll find that what they want from it or what they expect to give from that might be different to yours. So they might, for example, say, actually, what I want here is quite a formal, boundaried relationship. I'm a very busy person, I've only got a certain amount of time to give, and I want to make sure that in that time you get the most focused, most efficient advice that you can from me, so that we're not wasting time. But there might be others who really want to get to know you as a person and who want to be involved with your life, and if you're okay with that and they're okay with that, then that can be a very productive and fruitful relationship. What you're probably not going to find from your supervision team is a couple of people who think about it exactly the same way you do. There will be negotiations to be had. There will sometimes be friction between you and your team, because it's their job to constructively criticise your work as well as to support you in it. It's their job to warn you if they think that you're, for example, trying to take on too much or getting distracted, as well as just saying everything's great, go for it. So there will be times when you disagree with them. There will be times when perhaps you feel like you're falling out, but we're all professionals together and we can all get on with the job. But a couple of words of advice there. One is, don't expect your supervision team to provide you with everything you need. Find support from other postgraduate researchers. Find other academics in your school or department who can give you insights into what's going on. Get in touch with academics and, for that matter, postgraduate researchers from other universities who are working in a similar field, so that you're building up a network of people who can all support your research in different ways, because your supervision team can't do everything for you. Also, feel free to talk to us in the graduate school about how things are going. Feel free to lean on the postgraduate leads in your school or department, whose job it also is to support you. You have a whole web of people around you who are on your side and want to see you succeed in this. So feel free to draw upon those people in any way that's appropriate. And finally, it's a good practice to have a conversation with your supervision team about once a year, if not more often, to talk about how it's going and whether you feel that your needs are being met and what more they could do to adjust to your needs and expectations as your project evolves and grows and moves into different phases. Because they're on your side, but they can't anticipate and read your mind about everything that you believe would be helpful. So have that conversation with them on a regular basis and enjoy having two people at least who've got your back and who know your research intimately at every step along the journey.